slave. I am not.
The slave girl who became king, but lost everything. They chained her like an animal, beat her like she was nothing, called her a slave, like she would never be more. But the same girl they broke would one day sit on the throne. And when she finally became king, no one celebrated, because by then, there was nothing left of her to save. This is the story of Amina, the girl who rose from chains and paid for it with her soul. Amina was 19 when her life ended. Not when she died. When she was sold. Her village had been quiet, peaceful, until the night fire swallowed it whole. Men came with weapons, voices shouting, people running, screaming. By morning, everything was gone. Amina was dragged away with the others, hands tied, feet bleeding, eyes empty. She didn't cry, not because she was strong, but because she already understood. No one was coming to save her. They brought her to a distant land, a place where names didn't matter, only obedience. She wasn't Amina anymore. She was a girl. She carried water until her arms trembled, cleaned floors until her knees bled, was beaten for speaking, punished for resting, ignored when she cried. At night, she lay on the cold ground, staring at the sky, wondering if the stars above her were the same ones from home. One day, she stopped crying, not because the pain ended, but because something inside her did. Amina began to watch, to listen, to learn. She noticed things others ignored. The guards' routines, the master's habits, the weaknesses in power. She wasn't the strongest. She wasn't the loudest. But she was patient. And patience became her weapon. One evening, she spoke, softly, carefully, correcting a mistake her master made in counting. The room went silent. Everyone expected punishment. Instead, he paused, looked at her, really looked at her. For the first time, he didn't see a slave. He saw a mind. From that day, her role changed. Slightly, but enough. She was moved indoors, given tasks that required thinking, counting, organizing, advising. Amina learned faster than anyone expected. Numbers, trade, power, and most importantly, people. Because the closer she got to power, the further she drifted from who she used to be. One night, as she sat beside her master, advising him quietly, another slave was dragged in, begging, crying, broken. Amina watched silently, didn't speak, didn't move, didn't help, because she already knew. To rise in that place, you couldn't save others. You could only survive. And for the first time, she hated what she was becoming. Amina didn't move. The cries of the slave echoed through the room. Raw, desperate, human. Please. I didn't mean to. The whip cracked before he could finish. Amina's fingers tightened slightly, but her face stayed still. She knew she could speak. One word, one suggestion. Her master listened to her now, but she didn't. Because she had learned something important. Mercy had no value where power ruled. And power was the only thing keeping her alive. That night, she didn't sleep. The man's voice stayed in her head. His begging. His pain. But something else stayed too. The silence she chose. I couldn't help him, she whispered to herself. If I tried, I would be next. Her voice was steady. But her heart wasn't. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. Amina became more than just a servant. She became necessary. She sat closer to power now. Not on the floor, but beside it. Advising on trade, on decisions, on strategy. The other slaves watched her. Some with hope, some with anger, some with something worse. Disappointment. She stopped speaking to them. Stopped meeting their eyes. Because every time she did, she saw who she used to be. One day, her master made a mistake. A dangerous one. A deal that would cost him heavily. He turned to her. What do you think? He asked. Amina hesitated. She knew the truth. If she spoke honestly, she could save him. But it would anger others in power. Put her at risk. She spoke carefully. Strategically. Not truth. Not lies. Something in between. Enough to protect herself. The deal went wrong. Worse than expected. Money lost. Trust shaken. And someone needed to be blamed. The blame didn't fall on her. It fell on another slave. One who had nothing to do with it. Amina watched as he was punished. Watched as he begged. Watched as he suffered for her decision. And again, she said nothing. That night, she didn't feel guilt the same way anymore. It was still there, but quieter, distant, like it was no longer part of her. From that moment, Amina changed. Not slowly, not subtly, completely. She began making decisions faster, colder, smarter. She removed threats before they could grow. And trust. Gained influence. Step by step. She climbed. Until one day, her master fell ill. Weak. Fading. Power slipping from his hands. The house grew unstable. People whispered. All waiting to see who would take control. Amina saw it clearly. This was her moment. She could stay what she was. Safe. Invisible. Alive. Or she could take everything. But she knew the truth. To rise fully, she would have to do one thing. Something she could never undo. That night, as her master lay weak and barely breathing, Amina stood beside him. Silent. Still. Watching. Waiting. And when he reached for help, she didn't move. Because for the first time, she wasn't surviving anymore. She was choosing. Her master's hand trembled in the air. Reaching. Weak. Desperate. Amina, he whispered. She stood still. Watching him. Her face calm. Her eyes empty. For a brief moment, something flickered inside her. A memory. A voice. The girl she used to be. She could still move. Still help him. Still choose differently. Slowly, his hand dropped. His breath faded. And just like that, power changed hands. The house didn't collapse. It shifted. Quietly. Carefully. Into her control. Amina didn't claim power loudly. She didn't fight for it. She didn't beg for it. She stepped into it. Like she had always been meant to. Those who questioned her disappeared. Those who resisted were broken. Those who doubted learned quickly. And in time, no one called her a girl anymore. They called her ruler, leader, king. The power was real. The control was absolute. But the feeling was empty. One night, as she sat alone in the same room where it all began, she heard something. A faint sound. Soft. Broken. Please. Her body froze. The sound was familiar. Too familiar. The slave. The one she didn't save. The one who begged. The one who suffered. Because she stayed silent. More voices followed. One after another. All the moments. All the choices. All the people she stepped over to rise. She had gained power, but lost something far greater. Not freedom. Not peace. Something deeper. Amina stood slowly. Her hands trembling. Her chest tight. I survived, she whispered. Her voice breaking. I did what I had to. The silence around her felt heavy. Unforgiving. Because deep down, she knew the truth. She didn't just survive. She became the very thing that destroyed her life. Amina walked to the throne. Sat down. Straight. Still. Powerful. Her face didn't show victory. Or pride. Or relief. Only emptiness. In a quiet voice. Barely above a whisper. She said, "They took everything from me." A pause. Her eyes dim. "And I made sure no one ever could again." Another pause. Longer. Heavier. Then finally, the truth she could no longer hide. But in the end, her voice cracks. "I helped them finish the job." If you enjoy African stories, folklore, myths, and legendary tales, this channel is for you. Subscribe to African Savannah Tales for new African folktales and storytelling videos every week, and explore the wisdom, mystery, and magic of Africa's timeless stories.